second hour, ladies and gentlemen. You stayed up. Good job. Let's go up to Alberta, my favorite province of Canada, by the way, and see what Danica is up to. Hey, Danica, thanks for the phone call. You are live.
Hi, Dr. Glidden. This is not Danica Patrick.
Oh, yeah,
I do have a sports car, but I don't race. Well, once in a while. Anyway, I called you about a little over 2 weeks ago about my son with the kidney problem.
Oh, yeah. What happened?
Okay, well, I received the products, and I delivered them to him. I had to drive about 100 kilometers away, and he has started on the product, but the Imritalium, it was not included in the order, and I called California. They said it wouldn't be available until probably the end of February. I guess they're selling it like hotcakes or whatever.
Jeez.
I was going to ask you just a few questions, actually about three of them, I think. I was concerned about his weight. He's 150 pounds. He's like 5 feet 8 inches. And with the diet that he's on, with the kidney diet that's so restricted, you know, he's not putting on the weight. And he doesn't look like sick or anything like that, but, you know, you can tell by his legs and stuff like that, you know, it's just not him, you know. And so do you have any suggestions for putting on weight?
Yeah, well, you bet I do. So when we're trying to lose weight, we need to restrict the amount of calories we eat. When we're trying to gain weight, the only thing we need to do is increase the amount of calories that we eat. So the only caveat here would be he has to eat calories that he likes. So, you know, we're not forcing things down his throat. Calories that he likes that aren't part of the bad foods. So now, as luck would have it, we are in favor of high-fat diets. So he can have whole milk. He can have yogurt with the cream on top. He can have honey and peanut butter on gluten-free bread with bananas. Just crank up the calories. Whatever he likes, you know, we don't want to be, the nutritional support program, it's not a hardship, but, you know, he's got to be taking stuff every day, and he's not going to be used to that, and it's going to give him a little bit of a horripilation. And so I would just have him concentrate on eating more calories from foods that he likes that are not on the 10 bad food list. Now, does he have an appetite, or what's up with that?
Yeah, his appetite is pretty good, actually, and but there's so many foods that he's not allowed to eat because of the kidney restrictions.
Well, all right,
bananas, for example, apparently he loves bananas, but he's not supposed to eat them.
Yeah, because of the potassium, right?
Right.
Yeah, the MDs are so full of crap, it's not even funny. I mean, honestly, well, you know what? How often I can't remember, Danica. I get too many people calling me. I can't keep track of everything off the top of my head. Is he on dialysis right now?
Yeah, 3 times a week now.
All right. So as an experiment for 7 days, at some point of the program, I would have him once he's been doing our program, he's eliminated the 10 bad foods, and he's done my nutritional supplements for 3 weeks, I would have him stop the kidney diet and see what happens. Because he's going to go back for dialysis, and they're going to do his blood work, and the blood's either going to be good or it's going to be bad. And I'm going to bet that there's not going to be any problem. Because from my point of view, the MDs don't have it correct with the kidney restriction diet. They're just completely out to lunch about it, pun intended. So, you know, and there's no harm and no foul here, because every time he goes in for dialysis, then they're going to measure his blood and they'll tell him. So that's what I would do. But in the meantime, there's got to be something that he likes to eat that's not on my bad food list. There's only 10 foods there, and that's not on the kidney list, and just have him eat tons of it.
How about pizza from the gluten-free store? Like I've managed to find a gluten-free store here, and they have just marvelous stuff that I've been buying. It's a lot more expensive, of course, than regular food, but, you know, that's what I'm on right now as well. Well,
that's great. But is there a Costco? Is there a Costco where you live?
Yeah, there is, yeah.
All right, so tell the manager of Costco that you want gluten-free stuff, and they'll get it.
Oh, okay.
And if enough people, what city in Alberta are you in?
Calgary.
All right, so listen up, Calgarians.
So,
if you're in the Longevity Nation and you're in Calgary, I want everybody to go to Costco in Calgary. Call them up and demand that they start selling gluten-free stuff at Costco. They do at the Costco right down the street from my house, and you save a ton, when you shop at Costco. Of course, you have to buy a case of it, but whatever. But that's a good thing to do. Also, as we go down the track here, Danica, it's a good idea to, because you'll save a ton of money when you do this. This is what we do. Start messing around with gluten-free flours, right? Gluten-free baking flour, gluten-free pancake mix. You can make your own bread, gluten-free stuff at home. You can make your own. We have pizzas every Friday night, gluten-free pizzas. We make them at home. So, there is a little bit of a learning curve, to be sure, with the gluten-free stuff, but you can save a lot of money if you start making the stuff at home, and it does make a big difference. So that's question number one. He needs to eat more calories that are friendly.
Dr. Glidden, they put fear in him where they said that he has to be very, very careful with potassium because he could have a heart attack.
Yeah, I know that's what they said. All right, so look, just have him...
Is that correct? Is that just an MD kind of thing off the top of their head?
It's an MD thing because the amount of potassium that the human body needs is gargantuan. It's a gargantuan amount of potassium that the human body needs. And it's very, very difficult to get excessive amounts of potassium into the body just from eating foods. It's really, really difficult to do it, to tip the body into heart attack land, even if you're on dialysis. I'm sorry, it's extremely rare. It's really hard to make happen, and, it's just, I've never seen it. Theoretically, you can drink too much water, and that'll kill you. You can expose yourself to too much sunlight, and that'll kill you. But there is a point where reality intersects with fantasy here, and I don't know where it is, but if I were a kidney dialysis patient, potassium would be the last freaking thing that I would worry about. But notwithstanding that, if that's a trigger for him, and if that's a deal breaker for him, then tell him to just keep avoiding food that has potassium in it, because there's tons of foods that are high calories that are in the good food list that don't have potassium in it, and that's where he should lean.
Okay, and the other question is, the second one is that, I remember, you probably don't because you talk to so many people, he is on a prescription of 1,000 milligrams of calcium binders. That's to take the phosphates out of his system. And the 1,000 milligrams daily that he's taking of this stuff, combined with the longevity calcium, is that too much?
Well, what's going to happen is the calcium binder is going to disallow the longevity calcium from entering into the system. And, in a perfect world, he would be in a naturopathic hospital under naturopathic dialysis, and all of this nonsense would be handled. So my advice to you would be have him to take the longevity liquid calcium, the OsteoFX, as far away from the calcium binder as he can.
What do you mean by as far away?
Well, what's he taking, one capsule of the calcium binder a day?
I think it's right after a meal, 3 times a day.
Well, then have him do the liquid calcium immediately before bed.
Oh, just the one time, then, eh?
Yeah.
Okay, and the last one is, I just wanted your not confirmation, but your view on the regimen that you suggested when I phoned about a little over 2 weeks ago. The selenium, I don't know if I got this right. I just want to get this, do we do this properly?
Yeah.
Did you say 4 of them 3 times daily, which was equal 12 per day?
Is this for your son we're still talking about?
Yeah. Is that too much on in a system that's so fragile at the moment?
No, he's 150 pounds, right, and he's got kidney disease.
Right.
So I would give him 12 a day. Now, signs and symptoms of too much selenium are his breath starts smelling garlicky or fishy, or his fingernails start to get brittle. If either of those two things happen, you can back off to 9 a day. But I would take a minimum of 9 selenium a day, because selenium recycles the body's fire department, recycles the main part of the body's fire department, glutathione. Selenium recycles it and makes glutathione much more effective. The body uses glutathione to clean up the free radicals, and the free radicals cause kidney damage. So taking selenium here in abundance will support and promote his body's ability to keep the kidneys healthy which is a good thing because every kidney patient that's on dialysis eventually has a kidney transplant because the dialysis isn't fixing anything. It's just managing things until the kidneys get so bad that they need to be replaced. So the selenium supplementation ostensibly is prescribed or recommended to support and promote the structure and function of the kidneys and to short-stop any further damage to the kidneys, because most of the time the kidneys are damaged by oxidative stress.
And once the Immortalium comes in, how much should he be taking of that per day?
Well, you just divide the number of capsules that are in the bottle by the number of days in the month. Immortalium is a brand new product. I think there's 120 in it. So that would be 4 a day. And you can divide that up, right? So if it's 4 a day, give 2 twice. If it's 6 a day, give 2 3 times, and so forth.
Right. And the Ultimate Daily is the one that's really the important one for the blocking of the artery?
Well, yes.
For that one?
So it's the secret sauce here, and that's 6 a day. Now, my advice for Ultimate Daily capsules, because they're big, and they don't have that pharmaceutical shellac on them, right? So they don't slide down the throat easily. So when you're not taking those, put them in the freezer. Store the bottle in the freezer. And when you go to swallow it, just don't take the Ultimate Daily with any other supplement. Just take 1 capsule at a time and put it in your tongue the long way and swallow it down with a glass of water. It goes down easily if you do it like that. I had a big choking experience twice in my life with the Ultimate Dailies because I'm pounding them down unmindfully. But if you do them one at a time, it makes a big difference. And the recommendation for him, the Ultimate Daily capsules, is 6 a day, 2, 2, and 2. Give us a call back in a couple of weeks, Danica, with an update. Okay. I'm very excited to find out what happens. You're welcome very much. Southern California is up next, folks. Stick around. Well, it wasn't Danica Patrick, but it's the next best thing. It's a longevity distributor, a longevity person who, is open-minded and wants to take positive action on behalf of their son. And that's the type of people that we gravitate to. Let's go down to Southern California and talk to Shannon. Shannon, who was shot from a cannon. Hey, Shannon. Welcome back. You are live.
Hi, Dr. Glidden.
What's going on, Shannon?
Well, I'm calling today to tell everybody the importance of getting off gluten, because today is the first time in 40 years, 40 years, that I realized that I did not have any more stomach pain. I didn't feel like I was going to throw up. My stomach wasn't bloated out like I was 9 months pregnant. Every day for 40 years, I felt like I was going to throw up every day. I get bronchitis every year. When I get it every year, I would have it for a month. I've had it every single year my whole life. I had asthma, had eczema, psoriasis, the whole 9 yards, and of course all the MDs had no idea what to do with me. And I've taken Tums and Maalox and all those over-the-counter useless things you could take for digestion problems. I didn't know what to do. I just lived with it. And then I put my trust in you, Dr. Glidden, and Doc Wallach. You guys told me to stop eating the crap, and I did. And about a year later, I just realized yesterday and today I no longer have any pain, and it's an amazing, wonderful feeling, and I'm so joyful, and I wanted to tell everybody how important it is to get the hell off these GMO man-made grains, because they will jack up your digestive system and cause you chronic health conditions. So I felt that this was very important to share.
Shannon, you're the greatest. We've got a really bad connection here, so I'm going to have to drop the call, but I'm going to riff on this for a while. I appreciate you. Appreciate everything that you do. Now the real work begins by bringing other people into the fold with a remarkable testimonial like that. It's an interesting thing to talk about, right? 40 years of trouble. 40 years of problems, 40 years of consistent, all the same stuff, nausea every day, bloating every day. You just get used to it. What does the MD do? Throw a drug at it, and then another drug, and then another drug, and then an MRI, and then a CT, and then another drug. Then they throw their hands up and say, oh, you must have the weird stomach gene, and they walk away and sleep very soundly that night. Meanwhile, you're left stringing along in the wind. It's just not right, but it's par for the course in the upside-down, inside-out world of contemporary American disease management, because it ain't health care. So what does Shannon do? By hook or by crook, she hooks up with us. She hooks her wagon onto our star, and she just trusts us. I don't know why. Maybe because we speak the truth, and that has a ring to it. So she gets on board with the products. She gets on board with the diet. Does it take 3 months? No. Does it take 6 months? No. It takes a year. And finally, she wakes up one day, and son of a gun, she doesn't have the same problems that she's had for 40 years. And it takes a while for that kind of to, hit you. It takes a while for that to hit you because you're so used to being one way and you just expect it. You don't even notice it anymore, and then all of a sudden it's not there. You know what a fantastic this thing is for Shannon moving forward in her life? Have any idea what that's like? I mean, you can probably conceptualize it. You can probably imagine what it's like if you worked in a coal mine every day and you were exposed to black coal dust every day, or if you worked in an asbestos plant every day and you were exposed to that crap, or if you worked in a nuclear reactor every day and didn't have a radiation badge and you were exposed to that crap every day. It's only a matter of time until those chickens come home to roost, and it ain't gonna be pretty. Well, when you eat wheat, barley, rye, and oats and the other 10 bad foods every single solitary day, the negative effects pile up. But your medical doctor doesn't have any clue about it, and they just throw a drug at the problem. It doesn't solve the problem. You're still in the coal mine. You're still breathing the asbestos. You're still hurting your body, and things are not going to get better. They're going to get worse. Not anymore. Shannon has dodged a gigantic bullet. It's a howitzer shell aimed right at her life. No longer a problem. Nada más. Why? Because longevity, baby. Give the body its due. Get out of the way and let the body heal itself. Your body's ability to fix itself is greater than anybody has led you to believe. Longevity is your salvation. Stick around. Indiana's up next. You know, every time I hear this Mission Impossible music, it makes me smile because, right, that's what it seems like. Seems like Mission Impossible, man. How on earth could we possibly, what are you talking about, 20, 40 years? And the MD's got nothing. Therefore, the average person would think, oh, my God, I don't want to get near that person. I don't know what she's got. The MDs can't fix it. She's had it for 40 years. But it's not. It's not Mission Impossible when you have a clue. It's only Mission Impossible when, you're wedded to an out-of-date ideology. When you are suffering from intellectual inertia drilled into your head by the pharmaceutical industry. We must follow the law. We must follow what we're taught in school. We must follow the law of the pharmacy. We must do what we were taught in school. If we were not taught it, it is not valid. Buzz, click. If we were not taught it, it is not valid. Buzz, click. You are overweight because you have a stomach. We must cut the stomach out. You have heartburn because you have a stomach. We must cut the stomach out. You have attention deficit disorder because you have a brain. We must regulate your brain chemistry. We must. Shoot me now. How much is it going to take for you to snap out of it? Well, I mean, what's it going to take? Well, I'll tell you what it takes for most people over 50. Cancer. Oh, I don't need those vitamins. No. My father didn't need vitamins, and he lived to be 85 years old. Yeah, but he couldn't remember your name for the last 10 years of his life. He was on 16 prescription medications. Needed a prescription medicine to pee, a prescription medicine not to pee, a prescription medicine to poop, a prescription medicine not to poop. Prescription medicine to wake up, prescription medicine to fall asleep, prescription medicine for the pain, a prescription medicine for the side effects of the pain. 5 fake knees, 2 fake shoulders, all fake teeth, 2 hearing aids, legally blind, the golden years. And brought to you by Bus Driver MD. I mean, I don't know who it was that, I can't remember how Shannon found out about us. I can't remember. But you want to give that person a phone call, Shannon, and thank them. Because, you know, that's how we do it. We do it as a group. We do it locked arms, walking down the road of life, whistling a happy tune. Because when you're in longevity, man, life gets better and better and better and better and better. And again, that beats a poke in the eye with a sharp stick. Let's go to Indiana, a couple states over from where I am. Hey, Jim, what's happening?
Hey, Dr. Glidden, how are you doing?
I'm good, but I'll get better, man. I appreciate your phone call. How can I help?
Well, I got a question about a friend, but I do want to make a comment about Shannon. I did, got rid of the 10 bad foods, and my heartburn went away, right? So I thought, could that be it? So I went ahead and had a beer and had pizza one night. Sure enough, I was on fire. So
did I tell you? But did you hear about my story from when I was in France? Did you hear about that?
I don't recall that.
Oh man.
Yes, I did. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, so my fiance and I were over in France, right, for a much-needed long vacation. We had a good time, but we went out to lunch with a person that we met there. They invited us over to their house, and they had this like 5-course French lunch, and he told me he was very proud that he'd gotten up early and pedaled his bike to this one particular bakery in France where they bake bread, and it's the bakery that the president of France goes to, right? I mean, it's like the best French bread in the freaking world, right? So we didn't tell him, we forgot to tell him we didn't eat bread. So every course, there's bread, and we had to be polite, so we ate the bread.
Right.
And for the next 4 days, for the next 24 hours, I woke up that morning at like 6 a.m. I felt, I was dizzy, I was feverish, I was chilly, I was throwing up, I had diarrhea every hour for the next 12 hours from 4 freaking pieces of French bread. Crazy, man.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's funny, right? You don't know what you don't know, and when it comes to food, what you don't know will kill you, man. It'll just kill you.
Yeah, so needless to say, haven't had gluten since and no heartburn since.
You gotta love it, right?
Oh, I do love it. I mean, I was on all kinds of proton pump inhibitors my whole life.
Yeah,
ever since they started making those,
those are the second most prescribed med in the United States right now, proton pump.
I believe that. I'm surprised it's not the first. First one.
It's a real catch-22, right? Because what do proton pump inhibitors do? They completely obliterate your stomach's ability to make acid.
They sure do.
Now you swallow food into an empty sac that's supposed to be filled with acid, but now there's nothing in there. Yep. So guess what's going to happen? All kinds of trouble is going to happen downstream. The conspiracy theory person inside of me wants to think that the MDs are promoting proton pump inhibitors in order to make people sick, because they do. Yeah. But my Dr. Wallach doesn't think they're that smart. He doesn't think that they're smart enough to do that. But anyway, that's not why you called, Jim. It's nice talking to you, though. How can I help?
All right. Well, I had a friend stop by, and he was complaining about his bones hurting. Yeah. And he told me, that he's got degenerative disc disease and bone on the knees. And I said, well, I know a doctor says you don't have to suffer that by saying a webinar. Will you listen to it? Watch it. And he's kind of skeptical. And he goes, what is it? He goes, I've been on nutrients before, want to know if it's some kind of nutrition stuff. And I said, yeah. But I said, just if I send this to you, will you watch it? And he said, yeah. Great. So I'm going to do that. But I wanted him to hear, what you had to say, because I'm going to send him this, too.
Okay, great. Well, that's how we do it, Jim. That makes you the smartest man in Indiana. So when bones and joints go south, they don't go south because you have a bone in a joint, and it's not because you're getting older, and it's certainly not because you have a voodoo curse. I mean, I don't know, man, we're coming up on Mardi Gras. Maybe you went to New Orleans and ticked somebody off that you shouldn't have. I don't know. I doubt it, though. When the bones start to go, it's simply because, number one, you're eating food that's hurting the bone. But you don't know that you're eating food that's hurting the bone. Kind of like the same thing if you put diesel fuel in an unleaded engine. Well, that wouldn't be such a great thing. I don't even know if the car would run if you did that. But if it did run, it would run like crap, only because you got the wrong fuel in it. And number two, the food that you're eating doesn't have the raw materials that the bones need in order to regenerate themselves. Now, the bones are regenerating themselves all of the time. There are two cells in the body that are doing it. One cell is called an osteoblast, and another cell is called an osteoclast. The body is chewing up old bone and laying down new bone all of the time. But the body can't make bone out of thin air. The body just can't make bone out of nothing. It needs raw materials to do that. And where do we get those raw materials? Well, from food. Well, I got bad news for you, man. The raw materials that your bones need to maintain their structure and function are not abundantly present in the food. There's a little bit of them present in the food, but not everything. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like taking your car in for a tune-up, and all they do is change the oil. Well, that's a good thing to do, but what about the transmission fluid? What about the spark plugs? What about the timing? What about the power steering fluid? What about the radiator fluid, et cetera? Right. So you got to give the bones and the joints and, quite frankly, everything in your body its due. So when we're up against a bone or a joint problem, it would make sense to supplement with nutritional supplements, which are appropriate for your body weight, by the way. And this is something that we do that nobody else does. If you went to a medical doctor and they prescribed 30 milligrams of an antibiotic for sinus infection twice a day, that's what you need, 30 milligrams twice a day. Well, if you did 10 milligrams once a day, it wouldn't work. Does that mean antibiotics don't work? No. It just means you didn't take enough. It's the same with medical nutrition. We have to take enough, number one. Number two, we have to take recipes, nutritional supplements in recipes that the body can absorb. And therein lies the sticking point, because not all chicken soups are created equal. Not all red wine are created equal. Not all bottles of beer are created equal. They're all made from the same stuff, more or less. I mean, all wine's made from grapes, but there's a great deal of difference, right? Oh, so nutritional supplements, it's the same. We have to get a good one. And I've been doing this for 25 years, coming up on 25 years, imagine that. I am here, as God is my witness, to testify and to tell you and everybody else in the listening audience that in my clinical experience as a licensed naturopathic physician, Dr. Wallach's nutritional supplements, as delivered by the Longevity Company, produce the most remarkable, reliable, specific, and measurable results of any nutritional supplement I've ever seen. And that's important because we got to pay cash on the barrelhead for this stuff because insurance won't cover it, and because the pharmaceutical industry doesn't want insurance to cover it, because if it did, they'd be out of a job, and they know it. Mm-hmm. So if you want to be skeptical about somebody, be skeptical about the drugs that they're forcing down your throat that now the government is mandating you buy insurance to pay for that don't work. For goodness sake. So, to make a really long story short, what your friend needs to do is support and promote the structure and function of his musculoskeletal system, and we do that with one healthy bone and joint pack and 2 bottles of selenium, one healthy bone and joint pack and 2 bottles of selenium per 100 pounds of body weight per month. That's how we do it. Plus, we eliminate the 10 bad foods. And Jim, of course, will be able to give you that list. So clean up your diet. Stop putting diesel fuel in an unleaded engine. Stop eating food that's hurting the bones. Fill your body's nutritional tank up with the right stuff. And give it 90 days, man. Give it 90 days, 90 days before you judge it up or down. And into the bargain, while you're taking this stuff, remember, this is a holistic program, which means that it's for you. It's not for your bones or joints, really. I mean, because everything's connected. So as you take the stuff and as you go down the road for the next 3 months, you want to pay attention to everything, including your bones and joints, right? Your mood, your energy, your sex drive, your sleep, your memory, appetite, weight, everything. And once you notice improvement, just keep riding this horse, man, until it takes you as far as it's going to. How's that, Jim?
That's great. Thanks, Doc.
All right, you're the greatest, man. Keep up the good work down there in Indiana. You are the last best hope your friends, family members, and church members have to live long, healthy, and wealthy lives, because guess who's let us down? Was it the naturopaths that let you down? Nope. Was it the chiropractors that let you down? Nope. Was it the dentists that let you down? Nope. Was it the herbalists? Nope. Was it the acupuncturists? Nope. Was it the homeopaths? Nope. Was the MDs in the pharmaceutical industry? So why are you still paying for access to them every month in the form of medical insurance premiums? Oh, the government makes you. Well, guess what? Take the penalty instead. Or, buy catastrophic medical insurance, which will cover you in the case of a trauma to your body, because that's the wheelhouse of the MD. And use the money that you save, switching from comprehensive to catastrophic, to buy you nutritional supplements every month and actually start building your health. I'm Dr. Peter Glidden. Today is Monday, February 10th, 2014. Patrick from Ohio is up next. Stick around. Is it a manic Monday for you? Well, if you're walking around life with an undernutrified body, if you're eating all the wrong food all the time because you've listened to General Mills and Monsanto, if you're taking Prozac just to make it through life, then yeah, it's going to be a manic Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Life is going to suck. Just like Shannon, she didn't know what she was missing. Finally, she got a clue, and then look, she missed 40 years. Well, she lived 40 years, but, with pain and suffering every day. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to go put a ball and a chain around your ankle and just walk around it for the next 40 years. Walk around with a ball and chain on your ankle for the next 40 years. You wouldn't do that, would you? You would know. But that's what you're doing to your body when you're not attending to it. Don't get me started. Faith and Magor, it's Patrick from Ohio. Let's finish it out today with Patrick from Ohio and see what's what. Patrick, thanks for the phone call, lad. You are live.
Hey, thanks for having me, Dr. Glidden. I appreciate it.
You're welcome, Patrick. Thank you for the phone call. How can I help you, man?
Well, basically, I understand that the plant-derived minerals mostly have a negative charge, but I want to better understand the positive charge of the cells.
Well, I'm not the man for that job. I mean, that's a very interesting thing to talk about. And, this brings up a really great question, right? I mean, this is where medical science should go. We should have all this stuff down, man. We should. But what do we have? We got nothing. We've got anecdotal reports from armchair scientists around the world who maybe kind of sort of know what they're talking about, but nobody's really dialed this in, man, and everybody needs to.
Yeah,
it's
exactly right about that.
I am, right? And it's the same thing with, the alkalinized water, right?
Yeah.
And the magnetic fields, right? I mean, we need to know all this. I mean, there's a lot of promise there, but what the heck do I know? But you know what is interesting, Patrick, and what I do know?
What's that?
I know what works. And see, this is why in the olden days it was referred to as the practice of medicine, right? Yeah. Because before the pharmaceutical industry got their claws on everything, doctors would, they'd be working in little towns all by themselves, and they'd do this, that, or the other thing. They'd experiment with this, that, or the other thing, and then they'd all meet once a year at an annual medical convention, and they'd all share their ideas on what worked and what didn't work. Well, that's what we're doing here, except we're doing it mostly with lay people. A handful of medical practitioners are kind of at the forefront of this, but it's people in the field that confirm or deny the effectiveness of our treatment. So I'm not versed physiologically on the mechanism of the uptake of the plant-derived colloidal minerals versus anything else. But I can tell you this, man, 100% of the time, when people take the plant-derived colloidal minerals into their body, they notice a positive difference. I've yet to meet somebody who doesn't do the requisite dosage for their body for, 2-3 weeks minimum, who feels nothing. So
you're absolutely right. Yep.
I know. So what can we do? Well, win the lottery and then put together a medical institute where we can actually fund good research on this stuff. I'm all in for that. So keep playing the lottery, Patrick, and call me back when you win.
Yeah, and I've been searching everywhere, and they don't say anything about magnetics or charges or anything like that,
I know, nobody does. And everybody needs to.
Understanding the cells are positively charged, and it's very interesting how that works,
The whole thing is interesting, and of course this begs the question, well, where does the charge come from, right?
Yeah, and I've actually been studying biochemistry. Do you know sodium chloride?
Yeah.
What's very interesting is sodium chloride actually has a neutral charge.
Oh, that's interesting.
It doesn't have a negative charge. Actually, when sodium meets chlorine, they actually take the electron. Sodium loses an electron, and chlorine takes the electron. So sodium becomes positively charged, and chlorine becomes chloride becomes negatively charged, and they perfectly attract to each other.
You gotta love it. I love chemistry. I love the way that the world works. Patrick, I could talk to you all day about this, but regretfully, we are out of time. I like how your mind works, man. Call me back anytime, and let's keep the knowledge flowing. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Peter Glidden, your steadfast advocate for health. God willing and the creek don't rise, I'm back in the saddle tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel.